Upon graduating from university, I felt a sense of contentment with my life. I landed a job at the company of my dreams shortly after I met Jack, who would become my husband, and we tied the knot when I turned 25. Then, I was not only financially stable but also incredibly kind-hearted. 3 years into our marriage, our daughter Sarah, or Debbie as we fondly call her, came into our lives. Her arrival seemed perfectly timed, adding joy to our already blissful existence. As a 30-year-old homemaker, I decided to leave my job to focus on nurturing and caring for Debbie, a decision I never regretted. Her infectious laughter filled our home with happiness each day, and watching her grow was a source of immense joy for me. Jack, equally enamored by our daughter, dedicated his free time to her, allowing me moments of rest, especially on weekends, thanks to his unwavering support. However, this tranquil routine shattered one fateful weekend when my in-laws, Stephen and Freya, unexpectedly visited. My encounters with Freya had been infrequent, and truth be told, I harbored some reservations about her from the onset of our relationship. Freya's disapproval of me was evident. She questioned my suitability as her son's wife, making disparaging remarks about my upbringing. In response, I often engaged in heated exchanges with her, unable to tolerate her negativity. Yet, Stephen and Jack, averse to conflict, urged restraint, attempting to quell any confrontations. Right from the outset, Freya and I never seemed to see eye to eye. So when Stephen and Freya unexpectedly showed up at our doorstep, I was taken aback. Despite my surprise, I had no choice but to welcome them inside. "Stephen, Freya, what brings you here?" I inquired, puzzled by their unannounced visit. "Didn't you hear from Jack?" Freya questioned, surprised by my lack of knowledge. "Actually, I've been discussing with my parents, and we decided to move in with them," Jack interjected apologetically, his forgetfulness not uncommon. Frustrated by the oversight, I quickly prepared tea for everyone, attempting to salvage the situation as we settled down. "How can we assist you today, Stephen and Freya?" I inquired, feeling a pang of irritation. I confronted Jack, my frustration evident. "Why didn't you discuss this with me? Deciding something so significant without involving me is not right," I asserted. "I'm sorry, Daisy. I was just worried about my dad," Jack apologized, but I wasn't appeased. "Being concerned about your dad doesn't excuse ignoring me in such matters," I countered, emphasizing the importance of mutual decision-making. Realizing his mistake, Jack promised to involve me in future decisions. "So, what do you think about moving in with my parents?" he asked tentatively. Hesitating, I confessed, "Honestly, I'm not keen on the idea. You know Freya and I don't get along." Jack pleaded, "Is there any way you could reconsider? I'll do anything to protect me from your mother." "If you can't, we're headed for a divorce," I asserted firmly, expressing the severity of my discomfort. Then, taken aback, Jack agreed to shield me from Freya's hostility with his promise. Reluctantly, I consented to the arrangement with a firm resolve to leave if he failed to uphold his commitment. Weeks later, we moved in with Stephen and Freya. As we entered, Freya greeted us with a backhanded remark, but Jack, emboldened by our agreement, stood up for me, demanding respect. Though surprised, Freya relented, offering hospitality. Witnessing Jack's support gave me hope that perhaps living with Freya wouldn't be as daunting as I feared. If he could stand up for me, perhaps we could navigate this arrangement together. After settling our luggage in our room, I joined Stephen and Freya in the living room for tea. When I heard the front door open, it was Isla, my sister-in-law. "I'm home," she announced cheerfully. "Are Jack and his family coming over today?" she asked Freya. "Yes, that's what I told you yesterday," Freya replied, confused. I wondered if Isla was now living with us. I had thought she had her own place elsewhere. When I inquired about her living arrangements, Isla casually mentioned that she had been back living with us for 3 months now, a fact Jack had failed to mention. Jack's oversight frustrated me deeply. I coldly glared at him, mentally noting it as strike one against him. 2 more strikes, and he would be out. Apologizing for his forgetfulness, then's feeble excuse did little to assuage my annoyance. I resolved to have a serious conversation with him later. Life at Freya's house started as expected, with her asserting dominance and immediately assigning me tasks. "Daisy, why haven't you cleaned?" she demanded one day. "I've cleaned my room," I retorted. "You haven't cleaned mine or Isla's room, and the lawn needs mowing," she continued, disregarding my response. "Why should I have to do all of that?" I questioned. "Are you back talking to me?" "You should be grateful we're letting you stay here," she snapped. I reminded her that we were living there because of Stephen's health concerns and that she had invited us. Isla siding with Freya only added to my frustration. Determined to prove them wrong, I took on all the household chores, even mowing the lawn in the scorching heat. Meanwhile, Freya and Isla played with Debbie, my daughter, without my consent. When Jack returned from work, I relayed everything to him, demanding he address their behavior during dinner. Despite my efforts, Isla and Peril continued to complain about me, unfazed by my grievances. "What is this dish? It's too bland for my taste." "I don't think I can finish it," complained Isla, pushing her plate away. "I can't believe she's a housewife and a bad cook," remarked Freya, adding insult to injury. Then, sensing the tension, intervened, putting down his utensils and addressing his mother and sister. "Hey, Isla, Mom, please don't complain about the food Daisy made it for you to enjoy," Isla retorted. "Then why are you defending your wife for this? Don't you have any dignity as a husband? Do you honestly think this food is good?" Jack affirmed, attempting to defuse the situation. Watching Jack fail to stand up to Isla's dominance, I felt a pang of disappointment. It was the second strike against him in my mind. Despite Jack's people defense, the bullying from Isla and Freya persisted. Every day, they imposed numerous household chores and errands upon me, refusing to accept any objections. Freya even went as far as to assert, "A wife belongs to this family, so it's natural for her to work for the family." "You should treat me the same as you treat Freya," Isla echoed Freya's sentiments, implying that I must obey their commands without question. Frustrated by their unreasonable demands, I began plotting my escape from this oppressive environment, feeling increasingly certain that leaving their house was the only solution. Then, I received a call from my mother, informing me that my father had suffered a stroke. While it wasn't severe, he was hospitalized. Hurriedly, I packed my bags to rush back and visit him at the hospital. As I was preparing to leave, Freya entered my room and questioned my actions. "Daisy, what are you doing?" I apologized. I explained, "My mother just called to tell me about my father's stroke. I need to visit him at the hospital." In response, Freya made an outrageous statement, "Who said you can leave? This is your home, and there's no other place for you." Feeling overwhelmed by Freya's demands and the toxic atmosphere, I reached my breaking point. Ignoring her, I left the house. At the hospital, I stayed with my parents for a few days, helping my mother with household tasks. During this time, Freya and Isla incessantly called and left hostile messages demanding my return. Their behavior fueled my anger, and thoughts of divorce and leaving Jack's house crossed my mind. Yet, fueled by resentment towards Freya and Isla, I decided to take revenge. Preparing for revenge required careful planning. Despite my desire to avoid them, I returned to Freya's house. Even upon my return, Freya and Isla continued to complain. About 6 months later, during dinner, Freya excitedly announced, "He proposed to me. I'll bring him over for lunch next time." Feeling a surge of satisfaction, I realized the time for revenge had finally arrived. But my smile didn't go unnoticed by Isla. "Daisy, you're happy for me too, right? Isla remarked, misinterpreting my expression. A week later, Alicia brought her kin to the house. Ken, an accomplished professional with a high income, appeared sincere and respectable. Alicia proudly introduced him to everyone, including me. Observing the scene, Freya seemed pleased and offered her blessings to the couple, seizing the opportunity for revenge. I engaged Ken in conversation as they served tea. "So, will you be living with your parents after marriage?" I asked casually. "Oh, I haven't decided yet," Ken replied. "I'd heard there's a rule here that if your parents are over 60, you have to live with them," I continued, surprised. Ken's expression changed. "There's no such rule in my family." I proceeded to inform Ken about the supposed rules and the mistreatment I endured from Isla and Freya. Ken's discomfort grew evident. Unsure, Ken turned to Isla for confirmation, but she dismissed my claims as jealousy. Determined to expose the truth, I played recordings of Isla and Freya's bullying in front of everyone. Shocked and dismayed, Ken swiftly ended the engagement, leaving Alicia in tears. Feeling a sense of vindication, I packed my belongings and left the house with Debbie, leaving divorce papers for Jack. Despite Jack's attempts to reconcile, I stood firm in my decision, frustrated by his lack of support throughout our marriage. Later, I learned that both Jack and Isla continued to leech off Freya without contributing to household chores. Isla, devastated by the broken engagement, struggled financially, relying solely on her father's pension. Meanwhile, I focused on rebuilding my life, working hard, and cherishing moments with my daughter. Though saddened by the situation with Stephen's family, I found solace in my newfound independence and commitment to providing a better life for my daughter.